Hey, good looking. Ready for some swatches? A nice, awesome swatch party on how I got these single eyeshadow dupes and a mini tutorial on the new Natasha Denona Circo Loco palette dupe. Then stay tuned because it's all coming up. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Kendra Morgan Official, and I put out content weekly centered around single eyeshadows, makeup brushes that aren't Morphe, and sunscreen. So if you like that kind of content, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Down below, we got a nice dupe palette for ya. I saw this. I just don't really have any words for this. It looks like a circus of a mess. Natasha Denona is releasing, it's right now for pre-sale, Natasha Denona's website, the Circo Loco palette. It is the full-size palette, so it'll be retailing for $129 US. Let me not advertise this anymore. I want to also let you guys know, if you are interested in buying the palette, my friend Looxi Beauty is actually picking this up for review, so we're collaborating. If you're interested in actually picking up the palette but you want to know how it performs and you want to see the swatches, then head on over to Looxi Beauty's page, and also just head on over to her page because she's awesome. She's going to review this for you. She's going to give you some swatches, some looks, and she's going to give you her final thoughts on it, and she never holds back. So folks, if you're on the fence about this, she'll push you over one side or the other. Check her page out and let her know that I sent you. Basically, we have a minutia of shadows here, and they look and resemble the Circo Loco palette. And let's take a look and see how I arrived at figuring out which shadows to put in my Circo Loco palette dupe. So if you're ready for a swatch party, check it out. All right, we're here. And this is what I came up with so far for the Circo Loco palette. I took out the two shades that were shimmery, mainly because I wasn't 100% sure on the swatches beforehand. So we've got a couple over here. We'll look at them, see what we've got. But let's double check to make sure that I got kind of the rhythm and the feel of the Circo Loco palette. So the first one is Firework, right? Do we think that that's it? Now, this is not the whole swatch party or anything like that, so just bear in mind, I'll give you guys swatches. I say that that's working okay. I wouldn't change it necessarily. The next one is the Razzle Dazzle, and I'm using Makeup Geek's Mystical for that one, and I kind of feel like, although it's a bit more darker, it does seem to carry off the vibe. I can't really get it to shine. It could be, let's see. I really don't have anything in my Coastal Scents shadows that I really feel like are razzly dazzly shaded. This one, let me see. This is vampy though, and it's like one of those, oh man. It's like that ColourPop shadow, you know, the ones with the glitter. Okay, let's get this blown up here. Do we see it? No, that's not it. I think that's what we got. Let me grab a couple of other brands really quick. All right, I grabbed my Sydney Grace and my Looxi. So let's see if we got anything in here that kind of... I feel like this is too red. This is Sydney Grace's Princess Pepe. It's just too red. Let me show you. Yeah, that's too dark, brown red. This is too purple. This is Sweetheart. You see that? Although, I mean, it would be an alternative. It could work. So like if you wanted to pick up Sweetheart because you like purple, you could put it in your Circo Loco palette dupe. I do have Ultraviolet. Let's try that. By Looxi, by the way. It's a little more flaky in texture. But if you wanted to go that route, I guess you possibly could. Now, I really think this is more of like a maroon you know, yeah, it's not really good. I think what I got is good. For the Shadow Acrobat, I could go a couple different ways. So I did Makeup Geek's Time Travel. And I think it's works out really good for it. Yeah. Cobalt Blue Matte. This does lean a little more teal. Let me see if I can find more of a cobalt color. All right, so if I get into the Coastal Scents shadows, let me show you why none of them really contend. So here's like a true cobalt blue color. This is indigo, and if you guys have never seen my video on my Coastal Scents shadows where I get all of them and organize them, I'll go ahead and link that up here. But basically what I'm saying is a lot of them don't really perform all that well, although this does look pretty stinking nice. Ooh, I hate to see a Coastal Scents shadow. No, because honestly, that is more of a, like a true, that's a royal blue, and a cobalt blue. Let's go ahead and, there, I think I got all three of them kind of, but it's not really that color. Yeah, let me adjust. There we go. Yeah, it's not really it. I'd have to go more, this is more purple. Midnight Blue. That's more of like the blue black, and this is actually more of a turquoise, a true turquoise. So I think we did her good. I think we did a good job there. And then this color. So this shade is described as a, one moment please. Snow Cone is a frosty sky blue. All right. Frosty sky blue. Let's go ahead and get the swatches up. Snow Cone. So here's where I just kind of really want to play with it a little bit. Here we've got like Alpengeist by Coastal Scents, and I feel like that's kind of a frosty, but it's got shimmer, so it's more bridal-esque. It's not like the glitzy glammy, but it could contend. I think I had one of these actually. I think I either had Genesis. Yeah, this is more of a like, it's a duochrome. Looxi's Genesis. And I think this is the one I ended up using, which is Starboy right here. I do it on this side. Oh, honey. To me, that one-ups the shadow game right there. So, Snow Cone, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to dupe it with that one. And so Cotton Candy, it's that pink shade. I mean, it's basically a cotton candy pink. I chose Sydney Grace's Fairy Tale. Oops, I did not mean to flip you off. Sydney Grace's Fairy Tale, which, I mean, you can see it right there. That just definitely, like, hits the mark. Go ahead and give you guys a swatch real quick. I'm going to have to build it. Oh, I got all this dirt and grime from the previous shadows, so that's no good. We can't do that. Let's try another strike. All right, that didn't work at all. There we go. Yeah, it pretty much hit the nail on the head. You could probably do, this is a more nude color, but Sweetheart. Yeah, that's, but you know, if you were a little bit deeper in tone, you might do that shade. You know what I mean? but you're still going to get the cotton candy effect, I feel like. From Coastal Scents, if I had to go this route, maybe something like Peach Puff. It might be a little bit too neon pastel pink. No, actually, that might actually be more of what they want. Yeah, see how it's just a little too flirty, a little too fun, not subdued, which is what I think she wanted. But that's an option if you were looking at shadows. So this is Melon. This is a shimmer, though. Yeah, that'd be. It's a shimmer. It's a, well, no, it's a satin, I would say. But that's also an option. And maybe if you were deeper in tone, like, you know, these two right here, even using something like a shade like this would be more complimentary on your skin. So then substituting out that for Island Coral might be an option. You know, it gives you a little bit more of that pigmentation, but you're still able to blend shadows out with that color. That could possibly work. So, I mean, you got a couple options there. Sydney Grace wise, Fairy Tale. Let me see what I got for Sydney Grace. Just a moment. I've only got the shimmers out right now. Let me go grab the mattes. Okay, you could do something like Drift, although that is almost like a grayish beige color. Yeah, that's not really what I'm looking for. Again, if you were a bit deeper in tone, maybe go for... I really need my depotting tool. Peyton's Puppy. That is more of your salmon, though. Hang on. I'm going to have to, you know, deep dive on the swatch there. I have some leftover foundation is why you're seeing that kind of that oxidation on the edge. You could do something like that. It's definitely on the salmon subdued side, but you could do something like that. I think that's pretty much it for all the pinks that I have as far as Sydney Grace goes. I mean, I could go into Makeup Geeks, but I actually don't really think Makeup Geek has anything that's like a cotton candy pink. So we'll move on to the next shade. And that is the Electric. Now, how do they describe this? Because that's how I would call this cobalt blue. Royal blue. Okay. So I chose Blew My Mind by Makeup Geek for that. And this is pretty much like, you know, there she be. You can't really see it on that side. There you go. Okay, I'm going to kind of just quickly skip over these two because I really don't have too many shades in that family. So there's the two shades right there, which you guys will find out what they are in swatches. But that is going to Dupe, Grin, and Cannon. Okay, what's interesting is the next shade is Flip, which is a shimmery, almost like a green shade. I'm interested to see what the description is for that. Electric Medium Teal is Flip. All right, Electric Medium Teal, but that's not what's showing up. Is anybody else seeing this? Like, I'm just, that looks like almost like a forest green, like an emerald green. So I think I got confused here. I put in Tenacious by Makeup Geek, which is really, really pretty. I'm running out of room. But that's matte. So let's find this in a shimmer. Okay. But it's looking almost green. I don't have very many of these shades. Oh my goodness. Let me put the matte away. And the only real shade that I see that it could possibly be is this one right here, which is mint green. And I don't really think that that suits it. No, that's way too light. This one here might be it, but this one might be a little bit more blue. What do you guys think? Ooh, yes. So that is Aqua Fever. Let's put that in. Sydney Grace's Aqua Fever. Definitely. Now, the next shade is a matte, and it's like a cotton candy blue. They call it Fun Tomine. Excuse my pronunciation or lack thereof. It's Aqua Pastel Blue. Oh, those are hard. Ooh, you know what? I wonder if my makeup... Let's see if Coastal Scents can dupe it first. Because there's Siesta Sky. But it's a satin. But oftentimes I can get my satins to perform like mattes. It's actually too saturated in hue. Can you guys see that? Oh, no, you can't. It's way too saturated. Oh, no. Well, what have we done here? It's just way too saturated in hue. Yeah, way too saturated. Let me grab my Makeup Geek palette and let's see what I got in that. So I have this shade right here, which is Code Blue. I think that's going to do a lot better than what I have from Coastal Scents. Still quite saturated, but I mean, when you're dealing with the best, you know, kind of have to do that. Now, what I originally had was this shade right here. So I originally switched the finishes on these two and made this a matte and this a shimmer. So that's an option, folks. And then the shade that I had was Blue Hawaiian, just one of my favorite shades by Coastal Scents. But it's almost like Cirque du Who. I'm trying not to make fun of her palette because I just think it's a little bit of... It's a little crazy. You think you can charge that much for a palette that's not cohesive at all. Yeah, I would say, though, if we had to do something, let's do this shadow. I think that looks pretty good. I just don't think we're going to get much more pastel-y. I think the days of buying those types of pastel shades are kind of over because people find out that they don't really, I mean, they just kind of perform. It looks like Crayola chalk. Look at that. Look at that. It looks like chalk. If I find anything else along the way, I will update you, but let's move on to the next one. This is the shimmery orange, and for that, I chose Sydney Grace's Orange Slush. I think it's going to be a beautiful fit. Let me just show you. I mean, like, that's really not going to get much closer than that, to be honest. So let's just leave it. For the matte, the deep shade, Magic, it does look a bit more on the purple side, and I'm a bit more on the blue, maybe possibly indigo. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to have to go with. So any dark blue shade that you have. I guess I could go with this shade, the Midnight Blue. What do we think? It's really crusty. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's pretty crumbly. I bet you would perform just fine on the eyes, though. Actually, this one might win it. Oh, Looxi, honey, I wanted you in there, but I think, honestly, I'm going to have to go with the Coastal Scents. Look at that. It just... Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so then we've got this cotton candy like pink shade. You could do a lot. It does look like it has silver. Let me tell you what the description is. Frosty Pastel Lavender. Okay, so there's actually not really very much pink in it. So Frosty Pastel Lavender, Always Yours, kind of. That's a lavender, but it's almost more on the mauve-y side. It's just too mauve-y. Little too mauve-y. Mauve out of my way. What's this guy? What is it? Go for it. This is going to be too dark, I can just tell you right now. But let's swatch it anyways for fun. Because people really love these shades. I love these shades. Go for it. That's too much hue. That's what I thought. There's too much saturation, not enough lack thereof. What about Immortal? What do we think about Immortal? That's more on the silvery side, less lavender. Let me see. Yeah, that could be a contender. Okay, so first of all, my hand's a little bit dirty. Let me get a good clean strike right here. I think we better go with something like that. Should we do that? Because I feel like if I have one duochrome, let's not make Natasha Denona look really bad. I mean, you want to like make somebody look like, you know, cheap date. Give them a Looxi shadow. So this is the silvery. And then you just get that puppy in there. So which one, guys? Which one? Let me know in the comments down below. Obviously, this shade right here is going to dupe it closer, so I'm going to go with that. But if I were really going to, like, one-up it, I would just use Genesis. Genesis, look at that. You can see that shift. See that? Focus, camera, focus. There we go. There's already a huge dent in it, by the way. But if I put that one in there, it could be a little bit competitive with your other shadow that is like a hardcore duochrome. So having one of these, I can lay this shadow down and then I can have this as a topper shade. So then we've got a little bit more of a mixture. So let's do that. Plus that is pretty contender. Okay, so Pandora. Pandora takes care of Act, which is just a really, really beautiful royal purple. As you guys can see, I love purple, so I think I have most of the shimmery shades of purple from Sydney Grace. This just, boom, titty. It just takes the cake when it comes to it. I mean, like, you're just not going to get much better than that. So I'm going to leave that as is. And then lastly, we've got Joker, which is like that deep matte fuchsia. Right here, folks. Looking at it. That's your #1 dupe. It's going to come from Makeup Geek Unleashed. And there you go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn you guys over to the studio. We'll get a look going for you, and then we will head on over to the final swatch party. See you guys on the other side. Okay, are you guys satisfied with some of the choices that I made, or would you have rather picked some of the other shadows over the shadows that actually went into the palette? If so, let me know in the comments down below. Are you guys ready for some swatches? Before we get into the swatches of the final shadows that I chose for the palette, let's go ahead and see if I can put together a cohesive look with the new Circo Loco palette dupes. So check out this tutorial. Oh, I gotta get it right. Yeah. Let's do that. Fluffy crease brush, but I'm making it pretty much. There is no transition shade. Why do I do this to myself? Then let me just deepen it up with this Refer 13, and still same color, Blew My Mind, or excuse me, not Blew My Mind, but Code Blue by Makeup Geek. Just deepen it up just a little bit so we've got, you know, something to cut into. Fluffy blending brush, and use that Cotton Candy shade, but it's Fairy Tale by Makeup Geek, and just buff and blend out. I'm going to start on this side and move outward. I think the cut crease, I mean, should be able to cut it and it won't be too bad. I'm noticing I'm losing a little bit of intensity from that blue, so I'm going to do my best to just keep this up above my crease and up above where that color is and just barely feather it in. Let's go ahead and get the crease cut and the color laid down for that, and then we can see if we need to build up anything else. Refer 21 concealer, any concealer, doesn't matter. I'm going to cut it harshly. You can cut it softly with a paint pot of your choice. Do like a nude or a white if you wanted to. Cut the crease. All right, same brush, wipe off any excess concealer. Let's add Fun to Mine. Oh, excuse me. So it's Orange Slush by Sydney Grace, but it's Spiral in the Circo Loco palette. I thought cutting the crease might help things, and it's not. And basically the only reason that I cut the crease was just to give myself a clean surface so that I don't mix the two and get a muddy color, because that's exactly what would happen if you mix two secondary colors. So that's why I wasn't really too precise on how I cut my crease. I just wanted it, you know, because I'm using Natasha Denona, or excuse me, I'm using Sydney Grace shadows, and they can cut themselves. They can cut themselves. Like you know they can cut themselves, right? Take Firework from the Circo Loco, and it's Bright Tangerine by Coastal Scents, so that one right there. Okay, yeah, that's doing what I want it to do. I always get so worried when I recommend a Coastal Scents shadow, like, is this going to do what I need it to do? Like, will it? I don't know. They always come through for me. Look at that. Look at that. That is gorgeous. And it paired so nicely with that Sydney Grace shade. I may have to switch to a brush that doesn't have any dampness, because it's kind of sticking to my brush, and that's just not really how mattes work. Wipe this brush off again with the Refer 13. Let's not fart around. A 99-cent shadow will have a little fallout. Never mind that I've paid like $20 for shadows and they've given me fallout. But a 99-cent shadow? Can't do that. Okay, so now we're looking very flat. We're looking really matte. I don't like this look. Let's keep going. Refer 12. Let me dip into the shade Time Travel by Makeup Geek, and it is in place of Acrobat. We gotta do her. Because see, now I'm going to mix these two together and it's going to make brown. Which isn't, I'm not opposed to it, but I just don't know. Midnight Blue and that's going to go in place of Magic. That I can blend out with an orange. I'll use the Refer 13 for that. Looking like a clown, folks. Looking like a clown. I really wanted to try and showcase some. Okay, so last ditch effort. Let's put something over the top of it. Let's either do this, or let's do the Immortal Shimmer. Which one do you guys think? Let's try this one as a topper shade over the orange to see if we can get like the warmer pink tones come out. Yeah, it's bringing out some yellow. It's just not really what I want. So let me see if I can add some with a brush to the other side to make it any better and more precise. Spritz my brush with MAC Fix Plus. You guys know the drill. And I am traveling this upwards. There we go. When in doubt, just sparkle it out. I do have to say this looks way better than that because it's like you can't really see where one starts and the next one ends. All right, let's do one more application of the time travel. I feel like the look is saved in some instances here a little bit. Like, who needs a brow bone highlight when you got Looxi in your palette? All right, I'm gonna put on some mascara and lashes and I'll see you guys on the other side. All right, guys, this is the completed look. You guys see that we kind of made it cohesive, but Looxi Beauty definitely saved the day. I just creamed this puppy basically all over my lid to get something that looked vibrant and beautiful. I don't think you would be able to achieve this look with the Natasha Denona palette because she doesn't have a duochrome in this position right here. It is, all of her shadows are flat one-dimensional. Even when she pretended to put out that trio chrome, I just couldn't see any of the shiftiness in her shadows. So I don't know why. It's probably has something to do with her formulation. But anyways, she doesn't do that with these bigger palettes, it seems like. But I like to one-up the competition here, folks, and I try to win them over. And that's exactly what I did here. So let's go ahead and take a look at some final swatches and see what went into making the Natasha Denona Circo Loco palette. Bright Tangerine from Coastal Scents dupes the shade Firework. Second, Mystical from Makeup Geek dupes the shade Razzle Dazzle, which is described as a vibrant fuchsia. Time Travel from Makeup Geek dupes the shade Acrobat, a cobalt blue matte. Starboy's Looxi Beauty Starboy dupes the shade Snow Cone, a frosty sky blue. Fairy Tale by Sydney Grace dupes the shade Cotton Candy, which is an icy pastel matte. The second row, we have Blew My Mind by Makeup Geek, and this dupes the shade Electric, which is a royal blue. Makeup Geek's Fortune Teller dupes the shade Grin, a vintage gold. Untamed by Makeup Geek dupes the shade Cannon by a vibrant bronze. Aqua Fever by Sydney Grace dupes the shade Flip, an electric medium teal. Last shade on the second row is Code Blue by Makeup Geek's rebrand, by the way, and it is duping the shade Fun to Mine, which is described as an aqua pastel blue. The last row we have Orange Slush by Sydney Grace, which is duping the shade Spiral, which is described as a metallic orange. Midnight Blue by Coastal Scents dupes the shade Magic, a vibrant purple blue, which we know it as indigo. Immortal by Sydney Grace is going to dupe Aerialist, which is a frosty pastel lavender. Second to last shade, Pandora Sydney Grace, that dupes the shade Act, a deep, vibrant violet. And then last but not least, Makeup Geek's rebranded Power Pigment Unleashed dupes the shade Joker, a vibrant pink. Alright guys, how did I do? What do you guys think of the dupe palette? Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of that. I want to tell you I had a lot of fun putting this palette together, but in doing so, this gave me the opportunity to play around with the shadows and put some looks together, and I have to say I would describe this palette as a companion palette. I really wouldn't put this with, you know, a standalone palette because there's just too many color stories going on in this. There's a lot of different shades and textures. There's a lot of different shades and textures in my dupe palette, so I really can't, it's hard for me to get a good cohesive look out of this. This is what I came up with, and you guys saw I just caked on the Looxi Beauty shadow to basically cover up that cut crease that just didn't look very good in my opinion, and it didn't look very artistic even. So I do want to note that Natasha Denona, in her video that she just uploaded to YouTube, did a pink look with hers, and it was almost monochromatic. So she took some shades here, and I think she used those two equivalent shadows and maybe blended it out with that cotton candy shade. And I just found it to be extremely, extremely monochromatic looking, and something that just didn't really describe this palette. When you see some of the other models that she's dressing up, you do see her using more shadows, and sometimes even, you know, dressing up the face. And that's kind of where you can see the extent of the, you know, the palette's potential, I guess. I don't know. I just don't see this being, this is not a palette that intrigues me at all. It really confuses me. It kind of gave me mass hysteria when I looked at it. I was like, where do I start? Where do I go? And then as soon as I started, I wish I could have started over with a different shade. It just doesn't have a nice storyline to it that's like, yeah, okay, there. That's going in, okay, that's all over the lid. You know, nothing like that happens when I look at this palette. Nothing like that happens when I look at her palette either. So this isn't one that I'll be picking up. It's not a palette that I aspire to own. Sorry. Again, that's just the way it goes. Finally, I do want to get into some cost savings. So you guys, if you guys have been with my channel for any amount of time, you guys will know that I am kind of doing a running balance of all the eyeshadow palettes that I'm duping instead of purchasing. So I take that money and kind of put it into a little savings counter, as I like to call it. And savings counter to date with my pistachio palette, Kaleidos Club Nebula, Mini Love, the Pat McGrath Quad, the Luxe Quad, Eternal Eden, plus the NARS Uninhibited, Raw Beauty Christie At Forest Side palette, Artist Couture, and now the Circo Loco palette. To date, I have saved $374. It's not including tax, and it's not including any shipping charges that may get added into the order. So far so good. We are only in March, and we have already saved $374. So that's a good savings, folks. Let's keep on keeping on. If you guys enjoyed this content, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If I'm your vibe, make sure you subscribe. I can't wait to see you guys in my next video. Oops, sorry. Can't wait to see you guys in my next video. Woo!